And happy to have Senator Durbin join us on the phone this morning. Good morning, Senator. How are you? And Happy New Year.
Good, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. New Year off to a good start, I hope. Not work-wise, but generally.
I think so. Everybody's healthy and had a great Christmas season, and family's good.
All right, good. You got my present?
I'm waiting. I'm sure it'll be a great one.
And the good thing is, as long as I've known you, we have a standard agreement. Don't buy anything for each other, and I think it's working out well.
It is, and even before I knew you, you were living by that standard.
Hear, hear, Senator.
Senator Durbin, obviously a big part of the discussion day after day after day is the border deal. Are you going to be able in the Senate to get it done so that this Ukraine piece, a thing that I consider is absolutely vital, that we can give aid to Ukraine and ultimately protect our own country in the process?
I hope so. And we have a good group of bipartisan senators who've been sitting down for weeks trying to come to a conclusion. They're close. They haven't closed the deal yet, but we need to do it. Listen, I'm as pro-immigration as any politician you're going to run into. My mother was an immigrant to this country, and I've never forgotten it. I think it's an important part of who we are as America and what our future will be. But the current situation at the border is unsustainable and unacceptable. We cannot accept everyone who wants to come into the United States at this moment. We have to have an orderly process. It has to be thoughtful, particularly on the humanitarian side. It has to be practical when it comes to the economy, that we bring in people who can add something to our economy and create jobs and fill spots that need to be filled that Americans will take now. But we have to change it.
Andrea.
I want to ask you about the migrant crisis. Senator Durbin, both Mayor Johnson and Governor Pritzker continue to say we need more federal aid. This is buses continue to arrive, buses and buses and buses every single day in Chicago. We had migrants being sent to Aurora, then they're being taken by train to Chicago, Joliet, Burr Ridge. What is being done at the federal level to help us here in Chicago and the state?
Well, first let me say that the governor of Texas, among others, is exploiting these people. He's saying, get on a bus and head to Chicago, things will be great. And the 39,000, I think, was the last count that I heard of, have come into this city as a result of it, and it's created real hardships. Some of the things these bus drivers are doing are just unacceptable and intolerable. To think that they would dump these people in a suburb in town and give them a ticket on the metro and say, good luck, is to me the height of irresponsibility. And there are children involved in this, too. One of them passed away a few weeks ago, just to tell you that they're vulnerable in the process. Having said that, we have a serious problem. The governor and the mayor are faced with the reality of that problem. The federal government has provided some funds, but not nearly enough. I want to salute Catholic Charities and other organizations that are stepping up, and individuals that are doing their part to try to create a welcoming atmosphere. But this situation is overwhelming, and that's why we need reform at the federal level.
And what can the president? What is within the power of the president to do? Look, here's the bottom line: the vast majority of these people were lied to by coyotes who took them to the border. They're not gaming the system. They were brought here with a promise of something that doesn't exist. And then all the problems at the border mean all these folks are getting in. This is not a fentanyl argument. It's statistically proven. Americans go to Mexico and they bring fentanyl back in various ways. It's not those folks that are coming over the border. Are there bad folks in the group? Of course, just like there is in any group. But we have to find a way to process this. And doesn't the president have the power to say to the president of Mexico, guess what? We're shutting this down. And you have to take care of this problem until we have a way to properly process folks.
I think something's going to come along of that nature. I think there's going to be a limitation of the number of people that we process. We can physically process a maximum of 5,000 people a day through our current system. We have more than twice that number showing up in many, many days in the last few weeks. It's just intolerable, unacceptable. And it reflects laws that were written 30 and 40 years ago and have not been changed since. How many times have you heard our immigration system is broken down over the last 10 or 20 years? That really comes down to Congress and the president doing their job. I've been part of a comprehensive immigration reform that we passed in the Senate with a bipartisan roll call. The other party wouldn't even consider it in the House of Representatives. We've got to get back down to business and come up with an orderly process. We need workers in some areas. call the Illinois Farm Bureau, pretty conservative political group, and ask them what they're hearing from their members about the need for farm workers and dairy workers and others in this country. I mean, it is a real serious challenge, and we need to accept it.
The governor yesterday in the Tribune quoted, and various other places as well, and obviously, Governor, you're welcome here. We'd love to talk to you, and we appreciate the access to your office, Senator, and to you. You're always willing to step up and answer questions. But the governor said he's not happy with the way things are going in the city, and he's deeply concerned about Mayor Johnson's plan. Do you guys have those sort of three-person conversations where you're on the line with the governor in the city, or is that handled differently?
Well, it's handled through staff more than through individuals like myself. But I am in communication with both the governor and the mayor, and I want to tell you they are frustrated, and they have a right to be. You know, these thousands of people who are showing up unpredictably every other day and in places we don't know where they're going to be dropped off have created real frustration and a lot of pressure, political pressure, and just human pressure on these individuals to do the right thing. I believe that the governor and the mayor both have the best of intentions. They need resources, and the federal government has not provided them.
Just ahead of the top of the hour, we'll let you go on this, but to prove that actually bipartisan work can get done, you, along with Senator Marshall, Republican in Kansas, are doing the Dental Health Act. Look, your health starts with your open mouth, boys and girls, and to have access to dental health is a big deal. Is this going to get done?
I think it can. People are really shocked when they hear the statistics. Steve, I tell you, 1 out of 4 dentists in the state of Illinois take Medicaid patients. The net result is if you are on Medicaid, low-income individual, and you have a child with a toothache, it takes 4 months to get an appointment to see a dentist. And if they need to do any procedure, it's another 6 months. Think about that. 10 months with a toothache, for God's sake.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and we can do better in this country. There are lots of ways to do it. Senator Marshall, who's joining me, a Republican senator, is a medical doctor, and he gets it. This is as much part of medical treatment as anything, and in some cases it's more demanding. You better get that tooth fixed in a hurry if you can. And for parents and for others, it's just a tragedy, the length of time they have to wait.
Yeah, and it comes down to the crassness of you can pay me now or you can pay me later, because if a child with a bad tooth is allowed to have their health deteriorate, it's going to be much more expensive. It's not about money, but at some point, if you want to be crass and cynical about it, understand that it's in all of our best interest, not just to do the humane thing, but to do the fiscally responsible thing.
And it's dangerous not to. Children die from abscesses.
Absolutely.
And, those sorts of things we have to take seriously.
We appreciate your time always. Good luck in the zoo where you work.
We're getting closer to baseball.
Okay, well, we got that, don't we? All right, thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Senator.
Thanks a lot.
That's Senator Dick Durbin in Washington.